From 2007 to 2008, the price of maize in Ethiopia went up 141%. Retail wheat flour in Peshawar, Pakistan went up 82%. Rice in Thailand up 73%. And so it went throughout the world. Our guest believes we're at the start of another surge in global food prices, and has little to do with supply and demand and much more to do with speculation by global finance companies. And what a surprise, that includes Goldman Sachs.
Bloomberg came out with an article December 14th about potential food inflation. And just like what Jim Rogers said and Mark Faber has said and what we said in the dollar bubble, you're starting to see glimpses of the future rise in food prices. Falling production in commodities from rice to milk is bad news for everyone, except if you're an investor and you're investing in commodities. They're saying rice may surge to 63%. They're saying non-fat dry milk may jump 39%. And overall, global food costs jumped 7% in November. So right now you're starting to see it hit the mainstream news, all the things we've talked about with the potential rise in agricultural commodities. We're actually seeing studies being done by some of the big banks and commodities firms. This is coming to fruition. Oliver Kratz, he's at Deutsche Bank, was quoted, "For those who can't afford to pay for more food, there's a painful risk of hunger." And here's what's happening, guys. There will be an effect for all the stimulus packages, the TARP stimulus packages, the bailouts. China is doing their bailouts. Central banks all across the world are doing bailouts. There will be an effect upon prices. You just cannot say there will be no effect. As the economies in these other countries start to turn around, you're going to see a huge demand for food in places like China with 1 billion people, India, and the former third world, who now is becoming second world. You're going to see a demand for the food that we've been used to eating at very low prices.
Rioting in Yemen over the price of wheat. Haitians eating dirt to cope with their hunger. Suddenly, all we hear about is the global food shortage. How did this happen? What the f*** is going on?
I don't have a clue.
What's causing the global food shortage?
Greed.
It's not that there's not enough food, it's just not getting to where it needs to go.
All of the mainstream media is covering a food shortage. It's as bad as any food shortage since 1980.
Well, we've got drought, and that's a big problem in Australia. I mean, there was an article, in the Times about the global warming and how it's changing the season.
It's making this heat which the plants might not be able to handle, and then all the crops are just dying out, and then you can't grow anymore. So I think it's global warming.
Maybe it's because what we did with corn, how we're using corn for our beef, and how we're using corn for fructose.
We have a global food shortage because we're turning our food into fuel.
I think so.
It just seems like environmentally problematic to grow huge fields of corn and continually harvesting.
What does oil have to do with the world food crisis?
That's like a whole other story, I guess. That has a lot to do with it, I think, just because transporting food and transporting, workers need farm machinery to operate.
What they do is they make GMO crops and they sell them around the world, and to unsuspecting farmers like Indian farmers and Chinese farmers and people that just don't know.
But I thought GMOs were supposed to actually increase our yield.
Yeah, they do I'm a organic farmer, so what happens is like first couple of years you put on these sprays, right? Your yields will be high at first, and then they'll just die off.
My name is Louis Guerra, and I am part of the third generation owning and operating this tortilla factory. We've been in business since 1945. We are a 63-year-old company manufacturing corn and flour tortillas, fried chips, fried taco shells. Primarily, we work with the restaurant industry, but we also do some co-packing for the grocery stores as well. We currently are about a $30 million a year company. Our goal is to get to $50 million. We currently produce a little bit over 10 million tortillas per day. In the fall of 2007, we started noticing dramatic increases in the cost of our raw materials, our commodity-based raw materials, our corn, our flour, our oils and shortenings. And then it was during the winter of '07 and the first quarter of '08 that they continued to climb and became dramatic increases. For example, our corn prices increased 50%. Our flour prices increased over 90%. So with those two alone, we were facing some big challenges on how we were going to manage a profitable year, a bottom line, with such increases.
Last year. And tonight there is an urgent warning from the United Nations World Food Programme that a crisis point is near. Simply put, there simply isn't enough money to buy food for the millions who need it most, and if more money isn't found, then food aid in some places may have to be rationed or even halted.
Came. In other words, you're putting back in the earth what belongs there.
Even if the energy mix that you recommend can be pursued and can be developed, you say there's still a profound problem. And the profound problem is that there are too many people living on planet Earth. Would you say that you actually welcome the idea that over the next 100 years the world's population, by one means or another, will be cut dramatically?
I'm afraid so. I think, like the word likely I would use, is...
But my question was, do you welcome it?
Oh, no, of course I don't welcome it.
Because we currently have a population, what, of about 6.5, getting on for 6.5 billion people on the planet.
Bit more than that already. I think it's about 6.8.
Is it? Well, and I know the projections are that it's going to go up to 9 billion by the sort of halfway point in the 21st century. So what do you think is a viable figure that Gaia, that the planet can sustain?
I would guess, living the way we do, not more than 1 billion, probably less. We do not more than 1 billion, probably less. We do not more than 1 billion, probably less.
The whole agenda is to create a one-world government where everybody has an RFID chip implanted in them. All money is to be in those chips. And this is giving me straight from Rockefeller himself. This is what they want to accomplish. Aaron, what do you think women's liberation was about? We, the Rockefellers, funded that. We funded women's lib. They do whatever they want to do. They do whatever they want to do. What we want doesn't matter anymore. It's their agenda, it's their plans that matter. They have all the money they want. They can make all the money they want. They have a machine that can make all the money. It's not about money. It's about control. It's about their vision of how they want to see the world.